The day aliens dumped their failed warship on Earth, they didn't know what would happen next. Scientists called it trash, engineers saw hope. When humanity rebuilt it, our keep-it-simple tricks turned their failure into the galaxy's toughest weapon. But here's the secret. Simplicity wins every war. The desert was silent, hot and empty, until the day the sky did not burn, but shook. A soundless shockwave hit the Gobi, not from an explosion, but from a massive, cold metal object settling into the sand like a dead whale. It was huge, bigger than any human building, and terrifyingly foreign. Helicopters came quickly, painting the area with searchlights and hiding it under massive camouflage nets. The world was told it was a rare meteor, but the men and women in the dusty suits knew the truth. This was not a natural object. It had lines, joints, and strange broken systems. It was a machine that had traveled light years, only to fail right over Earth. The scientists called it the anomaly, and the secret team built to study it was named Project Phoenix. The cold, hard truth. Dr. Anya Sharma, the lead scientist, was the first to touch the hull. It was alien, yet strangely flawed. She and engineer John Wrench Davies, a man who loved simple, reliable engines, spent weeks inside the wreckage. The alien design was complex and beautiful in many ways, but the central drive system was a total mess, an impossible tangle of cables and cooling pipes that canceled each other out. There was no sign of an attack, no battle damage. The terrible realization hit Dr. Sharma. This ship did not crash. It simply stopped working. The aliens who built it did not care enough to fix it or retrieve it. They had just dumped their trash near a small, unimportant blue planet. The sight of all that wasted technology filled the human team with a strange mix of anger and hope. The awakening. The team worked in deep silence for months, mapping the broken pieces. They realized the ship was not designed for war, but for long-distance transport. It was a massive dead truck. Then Wrench Davies found the bridge. All the consoles were dead, the alien language symbols cold and dark. But when the human team started cutting away a major power line to test a circuit, a small, cracked view screen flickered to life. It displayed a single, silent video loop for less than a second. An alien symbol, red and urgent, that looked like a broken chain. Before the team could react, the screen died again, but the message was clear. They had not found just a ship. They had found a terrible secret. The aliens did not dump this because it was broken. They dumped it because it was dangerous. This small flash of light was the only thing that kept the team looking over their shoulders. The heart of the problem was the alien FTL, faster-than-light drive. It was magnificent to look at, full of beautiful lights and swirling energy, but functionally a disaster. Dr. Sharma explained to the military observers that the aliens had designed 20 safety systems for one problem, and those 20 systems ended up fighting each other, causing a total shutdown. They had tried to solve a simple equation with an impossibly complicated formula. It was a design built on arrogance, a belief that complexity was always better. Humanity, by contrast, often built things to be simple, strong, and easy to repair. This difference in thinking was the key to their success. The wrench override John Davies, the engineer, became the project's unlikely hero. He looked at the massive, glowing alien components and proposed the unthinkable: tear out the useless parts. He decided they would bypass the entire alien navigation computer and replace it with a smaller, more reliable, human design system. His plan was called the Keep It Simple Override. It involved hardwiring the powerful alien FTL drive directly to a rugged, human-built control panel, the kind used in deep-sea submarines, designed to work no matter what. It was crude, but it was honest. The general overseeing the project hated the idea of replacing beautiful alien tech with simple human circuits. But Davies insisted, their way failed. Our way works. It took 6 more months of dangerous, tense work. Every connection was made by hand, every cable a testament to human persistence. Finally, the moment came to test the human override. The team evacuated the main chamber. Only Wrench and Dr. Sharma stayed behind, watching from a shielded window. Davies pressed a single large red button on the human console, The massive alien drive, silent for possibly hundreds of years, gave a deep, powerful hum that vibrated through the desert sand. The noise was not alien. It was the sound of a simple, stable engine. It was the sound of success. But the victory felt heavy. As the power flowed through the alien circuits for the first time in a new, human way, a small, dark storage drive ejected itself from a hidden compartment and clattered onto the metal floor. It held a vast amount of data, possibly a log or something worse. The silent hum of the powerful drive was now mixed with the quiet dread of the unknown story that drive held. The success of the Keep It Simple override changed everything. The news, kept secret until now, was given to the world's leaders. The decision was unanimous and fast. The wreckage would not be studied, it would be rebuilt. It would become humanity's first starship, a symbol of what they could achieve when forced to adapt. The project instantly became the largest, most expensive operation in human history. Engineers, metalworkers, and materials scientists from every nation poured into the Gobi. The new ship, still called Phoenix, began to take shape, a massive, ugly, but powerful blend of alien shell and human core. The rebuilding phase was ruthless. Everything that looked too delicate, too confusing, or too fancy was stripped out. The massive, beautiful alien consoles were replaced by rugged, simple human touchscreens and heavy-duty buttons. The aliens' energy weapons were judged to be too fragile and complex. In their place, human engineers installed massive batteries of simple kinetic railguns, weapons that fired solid metal slugs at impossible speeds. They were simple, devastating, and had no complicated energy requirements. The motto of the new ship became, "Reliability over luxury." They also ripped out the ship's entire internal cargo bay, which looked too much like a secure holding cell, and replaced it with extra fuel storage. A special crew was selected. They were not just smart, they were adaptable. The captain was a former Navy pilot, trained to fix his own engine with a wrench if needed. The engineers were farmers' kids who understood simple hydraulics. They trained relentlessly, learning to fly the massive alien frame using a standard human joystick and voice commands, bypassing the aliens' mind interface controls entirely. They learned that the Phoenix did not fly like an alien ship. It flew like a giant, very fast, very tough human fighter jet. They were ready to prove that the machine's operator was more important than the machine itself. As the final protective armor plating, made from new human alloys, was welded onto the hull, the ship's freshly installed long-range human sensor system detected something. It was not a huge signal, just a faint, rapidly repeating radio pulse coming from a distant part of the Orion arm. The signal was not a greeting. It was a search pattern, cold and mechanical. The pulse was looking for the source of a massive, sudden power surge, the surge that had happened when Wrench Davies pressed the red button. Someone, somewhere, now knew that the trash they dumped was no longer dead. The day of the test jump arrived. The rebuilt Phoenix stood like a monument to human defiance, its rough, patched exterior proving its strength. The crew was silent but focused, straps tightened, hands on familiar controls. Their mission was simple, a short, controlled FTL jump, the first in human history, to the orbit of Mars and back. Dr. Sharma and Wrench Davies watched from Earth, their hearts pounding not with fear, but with pride. A massive power surge was pumped into the main reactor, which hummed beautifully, now controlled by human hands. The jump was terrifying and perfect. One moment, they were near Earth. The next, Mars hung in the view screen. The alien drive, working on human logic, was faster, cleaner, and more stable than the original design could have ever been. The captain let out a long, slow breath. The relief was short-lived. The onboard tactical systems, installed by human military experts, immediately registered a contact. A small, fast, dark ship had just dropped out of its own FTL travel about 1,000,000 kilometers away. It was moving too fast and too directly to be a coincidence. The alien ship was sleek, sharp, and clearly military. It was a scout, a light patrol vessel, and it was moving towards their exact location. The search pings from Part 3 had paid off. The enemy had found them. Captain Elena Rostova, the pilot, did not wait for orders. She gave a simple command. Evasive action. Prepare kinetic batteries. The first human contact with an alien race was not a peaceful meeting. It was a deadly game of hide-and-seek. The small alien scout tried to lock on, but its advanced systems were useless against a ship designed for simple, quick maneuvering. The Phoenix was faster in a straight fight. After a tense, minute-long pursuit, the scout ship realized it was outmatched by the sheer speed and simple, stable power of the Phoenix. The alien ship pulled a sharp turn and vanished back into FTL travel. The crew cheered, but Captain Rostova held up a hand for silence. The main sensor screen showed a tiny, invisible signature left behind where the alien ship had jumped. It was a faint, nearly undetectable tracking beacon. The scout was gone, but it had left a signpost. The crew realized the terrible implications. They had just revealed Earth's location, and a much bigger fleet was now on its way to reclaim their trash. Back on Earth, Dr. Sharma and Wrench Davies finally managed to crack the hidden storage drive. The data was not a blueprint for a weapon, but a video log and a detailed failure report. They huddled around the screen, watching the history of the dumped ship unfold. The aliens who built the ship, who called themselves the Constructors, were not brave warriors. They were scientists, obsessed with perfection and luxury. They were arrogant, soft, and focused only on making things look beautiful, not making them work reliably. The video showed their test flight failing catastrophically and nearly killing their crew, simply because of a complex software bug. The log also revealed the Constructors were terrified of a different race, a hard, brutal, efficient species they called the Scavengers. The Constructors feared the Scavengers not because they were stronger, but because they were simple, militaristic, and had no regard for complex rules. The Constructor log stated that their FTL drive was only dumped near the primitive low-gravity sector, Earth, to get rid of it before the Scavengers could find it. They didn't want the Scavengers to reverse engineer their technology, even if it was broken. The truth was shocking. The Phoenix was not just rebuilt, it was a trap. As the team watched the log, the Phoenix's tracking beacon activated. The frequency was not the search pattern from Part 4, but a clear, loud fleet rendezvous signal. The Scavengers were closer than they thought, and they were coming fast. They had found the dumped technology and were planning to take it back to use against the Constructors. But they were expecting a crippled, dead ship. What they would find instead was a human-crewed warship, built on simple, reliable rules and ready to fight to defend its new home. 3 days later, the first wave of the Scavenger fleet dropped out of FTL travel near the outer edge of the solar system. They were small, fast, black warships, nothing like the large, over-engineered Constructor vessel. Their formation was simple, designed for a quick kill and salvage operation. They did not slow down. They were confident they were attacking a broken floating shell. Captain Rostova was ready. She had moved the Phoenix into the deep shadow of Saturn, waiting. When the Scavengers finally found them, they were surprised by the massive size, but they were not afraid. They launched a volley of energy weapons, expecting the old alien shields to fail. The new human-reinforced shields held firm, absorbing the shots with only a flicker. Then Captain Rostova gave the command. Kinetic batteries target lead ship. Simple fire solution, full velocity. The ship did not fire beautiful energy beams. It launched massive tungsten steel rounds at blinding speeds. The simple kinetic impact was something the Scavengers had not prepared for. Their sleek, fast ships were designed to avoid energy weapons, not to stop a literal bullet. The first Scavenger ship was instantly torn apart, its hull ripped open by the sheer force of the metal. The battle was short, brutal, and terrifyingly efficient. The Phoenix did not use complex tactics. It used simple, tough defense and devastating, reliable firepower. The Scavengers were faster, but the Phoenix was stronger and hit harder. One by one, the Scavenger ships were eliminated. The humans had taken the greatest alien engine, stripped away the alien complexity, and turned it into the most fearsome kinetic weapon platform in the galaxy. As the last Scavenger ship broke apart, the human crew felt a profound rush of victory, but the battle was not truly over. Just as the last Scavenger vessel exploded, its broken communication array managed to send one final massive burst of data, a warning transmission, into deep space, directly towards the Scavenger homeworld. They had lost the battle, But they had told their entire race that the dumped junk was now armed, dangerous and crewed by a new aggressive species called humanity. The war was now inevitable. The battle changed humanity. There was no more debate about the Phoenix. It was a weapon and a necessity. Earth now knew that a brutal, expansionist alien race was coming, and they were coming for the Phoenix and the resources of the planet it protected. The world leaders made a difficult decision. The Phoenix must leave. It needed to draw the main scavenger fleet away from Earth or find an ally, or find a new home. The mission was no longer a test. It was a search for survival. The ship was refitted for a second time. Every empty space was filled with extra fuel. More simple, rugged weapons were installed. Dr. Sharma was tasked with integrating the decoded log from Part 5, looking for any mention of safe worlds or ancient paths. She found a faint set of star charts hidden deep within the Constructor S drive, a map of all the worlds the Constructors considered safe or worthless. With a brave final goodbye transmission to Earth, the Phoenix engaged its FTL drive for the long jump. This was not a trip to Mars. This was a journey of over 50 light-years into the deep unknown. The human-controlled drive performed perfectly, carrying the ship further than any living thing had ever traveled. They traveled for weeks, watching silent, distant galaxies roll past the reinforced windows. The isolation was crushing, but the crew held steady. Finally, they emerged into a strange, distant system. The planet below was desolate, ruined, and clearly abandoned. But the sensors registered artificial structures on the ground. A small, silent Constructor outpost. It was old, broken, and clearly a forgotten colony. The crew landed and explored the ghostly buildings. Inside the main tower, dust covered the original alien console. When Wrench Davies powered it up with a small portable human generator, the screen showed one thing: a massive, red, flashing directional marker, pointing directly to the Constructor Homeworld. The alien log had been telling them the truth. They had not found a new home, but the heart of the problem. The Phoenix made its final massive FTL jump, guided by the recovered map. They emerged into a system that glowed with artificial light. The Constructor Homeworld was covered in impossible towers and beautiful, glowing structures. It was a city of flawless engineering and unimaginable luxury. It was also completely defenseless. The Constructors had spent all their resources on perfection and art, not on the simple necessity of defense. They were arrogant, soft, and easy targets. The arrival of the Phoenix was met with immediate panic. The Constructors' defense systems, which were complex and prone to failure, broke down completely as they tried to categorize the massive, rough, human-crewed ship. They looked at the Phoenix, recognizing the hull of their failed, dumped trash, now scarred with human armor and bristling with brutal, reliable human guns. The Constructors were terrified, seeing their own failure returning as a monster. They sent a frantic automated message: "Go back. You are garbage. Your failure is not welcome here." Before Captain Rostova could reply, the sky behind them ripped open. The main Scavenger fleet arrived, hundreds of ships, fast, black, and perfectly organized for a final, swift attack. They were coming for the Constructors, and the Phoenix was right in their way. The Scavengers were shocked to see the trash ship still active, but they saw an opportunity. Kill the humans first, then take the easy planet. Captain Rostova looked at the terrified, pathetic planet of the Constructors, the race that had called them primitive. Then she looked at the massive, approaching Scavenger fleet. She knew the humans could probably run, but that was not their way. They had rebuilt a wreck into a warship. They had traveled 50 light-years to warn a race that had scorned them. With a calm voice, she gave the final order. "We are the Phoenix. We own this ship now, and we will defend what is ours, even if it is a dump. All hands, prepare for battle. Target the biggest ones first. Show them what simple human engineering can do." The Phoenix turned its scarred hull towards the massive Scavenger fleet, its powerful, simple kinetic batteries humming to life. The first great war of humanity was about to begin, fought in a stolen ship, defending the people who called them trash. The only sound in the dark was the steady, reliable thrum of the human-controlled alien FTL drive. And that, my friends, is where our first great story ends for now. Humanity took a broken piece of trash and turned it into a weapon of war. Now, the Phoenix is fighting for its life and the future of Earth. But the fight is only just beginning. What happens next? Will Captain Rostova defeat the full Scavenger fleet? Will the soft, arrogant constructors finally learn to fight? I want to know what you think. Tell me your ideas for the next chapter of the Phoenix saga in the comments below. Should they jump to the Scavenger homeworld or go back to Earth? Let me know your best HFY scenario. If you love this story, the power of simple human engineering against fancy alien tech, then please smash that like button. Every like helps us reach more people who love humanity. Yeah, stories. And if you are new here and want to see the rest of this epic war and all the other ways humanity conquers the stars, hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell. This is HFY Sci-Fi, where we prove that humanity might not be perfect, but we are always the toughest thing in the galaxy. See you in the stars. Final on-screen text graphic, like the comment, you subscribe.